manager, something I've talked about before in previous sessions, and some of the skills and qualities I think you require. If you will recall, on my first session, I talked about having confidence. That's one of your main key skill. Uh, I wasn't born with confident, but I had to redevelop myself. I knew what I wanted to achieve in life, so I had to develop that confidence. And this came about me, going to interviews, learning some skills, realizing that interviews is just a two-way conversation. There's nothing more than that. Most of us get nervous, doing interviews. I can speak to 2 million people. I can speak to 200 people. I can speak to one person. It doesn't matter. I see it as the same thing. But like I say, that comes with time. Um, do not be nervous. You are going for a job role that you probably do know all about. You've done your practices. If you're a project manager, you've done your whether it's APMG, your Prince 2. You know what it entails. You've done some form of training, so you are going for the job role. So there's no need for you to be nervous. You've got opportunity for you to just show yourself, showcase your key skills, showcase the fact that you are a people's person, and you can work within the team and fit in well within the team. That's what they want to see. Um, Most of the time, within the first 10 minutes, they've already made up the mind that, yep, this person will fit in well within a team or not. So please don't look at interview as something, too high up there. It's you selling yourself. Equally, they need someone, hence why they've gone out to the market to advertise a job role. If you fit in well with that job role, they'll take you. So as well as you need them, they need you as well. So when I go to an interview, I see it as they need me to come in and help them out, manage a project. So I have a conversation with people interviewing me, whether they're 10 of them or five of them or three. I'm having a conversation. I'm selling myself. I'm also looking for an organization where I'll fit in well. So I just want to go into any organization out there. I've gone to an interview where I've nailed the interview. They've called me to join. I said no because I've asked a few questions during the end of the interview, and I realized the organization isn't something I wanted, so I've turned them down. Sometimes I'll turn the job down as well if the pay isn't what I'm looking for. There are some organizations out there that advertise a job. You go to the interview, they might not tell you exactly what they're paying, but you're hoping they're paying a certain amount of money. And when you've asked towards the end of the interview, they say they're paying 30K, whatever it is, then I just turn it down. I say, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. But that's because I've built myself up to the level I am over the years. So, like I said, interviews isn't something you should be scared of. Um, it's an opportunity for you to showcase yourself. It's also an opportunity for you to find out more about the organization you're about to go in. Look at yourself as someone important with all the set of skills, all those trainings you're about to offer them, and then you are going to go there with a mindset of, okay, they need me. I'm worthy of this. Don't be shy. Confidence is something you need to have, and that's what I keep saying: confidence and then communication skills, learning to talk calmly, learning to understand the tone of your voice, and listening. Listening is one of the most important part of communication because I'm gonna ask you A, B, and C, but if you don't listen properly, you'll be answering D, E, F, G. So listen to what's been said and then answer. If they say tell me, tell them. If they say list. If they say give me an example, give them an example. So all those keywords are something I'm listening to. So if the interview say, can you please give me an example of? I'm not going to start listing. I'll be giving him an example of. That's what he's asked me for. If he says, can you please tell me the difference between issues and risk? I will tell him the difference between issues and risk, and then perhaps give an examples of an issue or a risk I encountered on a project. But by listening, I'm telling him what he or she wants to hear. So we need to be able to listen properly and attain what's been said, and then give them that. Without any further ado, I'm going to quickly introduce you all to my ex-colleague Catherine, who was a delivery manager within a team that I worked for. Catherine, if you just want to give a brief introduction as to who you are, and then you can go into asking some questions.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine. Thank you, Ade, for the opportunity. I really appreciate. Yeah, as Ade has said, we work together, and I at NHS England, and I was one of the product team agile delivery manager. Um, I was there for like 2 years, I believe, 2022, until like end of June. So it was really amazing working with diverse team. They were really intelligent individuals that I worked with. Had the opportunity to work with developers, user researchers, and DevOps guys, and my product manager. Amazing team. I've really never worked with such team um, with the experience I've had in like project environment that I've worked. Prior to being an agile delivery manager, I worked as a Scrum Master, um, again as a contractor, but this was like for a year and a bit. So it was kind of different for me moving from a Scrum Master into um, more hands-on sort of delivery manager position. So totally different to what a Scrum Master would do. So we kind of see end to end of a project and make sure the process is as seamless for the team as possible in terms of delivery. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And I'm
Thank
hoping
you.
if you have any question at the end of this interview, I don't mind answering any questions. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Catherine. Before we go into this question, let me just bring in Bumi. That's a really I'm bringing both of you into the session because I noticed from questions being asked in the past, there are people here that are probably business analysts. There are people here probably Scrum Masters or aspiring to be Scrum Masters, a data analyst, all sorts of work. Bumi was a senior business analyst again within NHS England. I had the opportunity to work with her. I would like to just bring her in. Bumi, do you like to just give a brief introduction as to who you are and what you did within NHS England? Thank you.
Oh,
Wow, there are 29
hi.
of us on the call. That's brilliant. Yeah, go on, Bumi.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I don't know if you can see me. Yeah, hi
Yes,
everyone.
yes.
I didn't know I was going to say anything, but it's good to be
You know, I like to
here.
test. You know, I like to test your. Yeah.
Well, it's good to be here. I worked within NHS England, worked with Ade as a senior project manager. So my role there was to, well, uh, when there's a project, I elicit the requirement, make sure that the requirements meet the organization's strategy. I worked with SMTs, like a senior management team, to ensure that whatever is being procured or systems that we're procuring meets the strategy of the organization, get all of that, the requirements verified, did presentation, do options analysis. I got involved with business case creation, uh, doing some kind of engagement with suppliers as well. I think I worked with Ade on some
Yeah.
of those
Yeah.
projects where we did
Yeah.
big workshop with suppliers and to also make sure that the organization is doing the right thing. Well, I can go on and on and on, but I think in a nutshell, as a business analyst, they just need you to to know like a bit of everything and be able to give accurate recommendations. And that's what
Thank
I
you.
did. Thank you.
Thank you, Bumi. What was is it Elisa? What was her role again?
Enterprise architect.
Enterprise architect. Thank you very much. Someone on this call, I think it was a previous session, asked me about that if I worked with them, and I did say yes because via you, I worked with enterprise architect, and again,
Mm.
their role is to make sure we are not procuring a system that we already have within the organization. So I'll come to you, and you will help me check, and
Yeah.
if the system is there, then we can use. If the system is not there, then you give us the authorization to go ahead and procure that. I think there's someone on the
Yeah.
call that's aspiring to become an
Oh,
enterprise architect. Yeah, excellent. Thank you very
okay.
much. Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. The enterprise architect was to make sure that the organization is not exposed to any risk while they're taking on new systems, and also to make sure that old previous systems are reused. That's just like a reusability of codes within development. The same way we want to reuse systems that we have so that we don't keep piling them up.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bumi. Thank you.
Mm.
Over
Yeah,
to you,
bye.
Catherine. Thank you. You can
Okay.
fire with the first question.
Okay. Right. We ready?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So first question would be, can you please tell us about yourself?
Wonderful. So in this question, they don't want you to tell them stories about, you live in a council flat before, you have two dogs. This is tell me or tell us about yourself. It's a simple question, but yet sometimes we tend to forget and dive into something unnecessary. You keep it simple, keep it into, if you're going for a business manager, if you're going for a business analyst role, keep it within business analyst, your conversation, put in some keywords. This is the first question. This is to tell them that you know what you're talking about. You are who you are. So for instance, in this particular question, um, tell us about yourself. I'm gonna say something similar to this. Um, Hi, my name is Adeolaya. I'm an accomplished and highly motivated agile and waterfall project manager with valuable experience working with various multidisciplinary initiatives within the public and the private sector. I'm a self-starter, organized with good attention to detail, analytical, methodological in assessing needs and preparing bespoke project plan for my stakeholders. I'm confident in managing the full project life cycles to achieving delivery on time, within budget, and agreed quality specifications. Recognized as an influential leader who is able to direct large teams and manage stakeholder expectations. I'm a fluent communicator with strong problem solving and decision making skills, combined with a pragmatic and reflective approach. I am proficient in computer softwares, applications such as Jira, Confluence, MS Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Visio, Office 365. I'll keep it simple as that. Because for the run, there are other things I like to say about myself that will come in. I'll keep it simple. I try to keep my answers to questions about 3 to 5 minutes long. Most interviews are an hour long. They might ask you about 10 to 12 questions, and then you've got opportunity to ask your questions at the end as well. So I will not go on for 10 minutes. That is, I find that boring when I'm interviewing someone and you just go in and I'll forget most of the things you've said. So I'll keep it simple and plain. Talk about who I am, my accomplishment. Talk about managing project life cycles. Talk about being able to use some computer skills. Are there any question with that first question? No. Cool. We'll move on to the second question, please.
Okay. What challenges do you think you might face in this position?
Wonderful. So again, to paint a picture, let's assume this position is for a digitization project. So moving from paper to digital, what challenges might I face? I haven't read the job description and person specification. I believe the challenges I might face is gaining stakeholders buy-in. I believe the change at times it's hard to adapt. But with my skills in change management, in fact, I did a change agile change management course recently, and within that course, I learned a lot about emotional empathy, drawing an empathy map, putting myself in the position of the stakeholder. So I believe that the challenges I might face in this position is gaining the stakeholders' buy-in. Most of the stakeholders would have been used to using paper, and I'm coming in as a project manager to changing that process. I believe I will be patient, do a benefit mapping, get them on board, show them the benefits of the change, gain the buy-in, and then together we can deliver this change and they can see the benefit fairly quickly. Also, I believe that in order to achieve the process sufficiently or efficiently, I need to make sure that I understand why the change is coming about. From reading the job specification and job description again, I realized that it's actually an NHS mandate that will move away from paper to digital to reduce pollution and paper trail. So I'll explain that to them. If there are any difficult stakeholder, I'll have a one-to-one meeting and explain our process to them and explain them the benefit and the reason why we are making those changes. And I believe with those things set out, I'll be able to achieve the change. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from anyone on that?
Please feel free to ask any question and jump in. We're having a
Okay.
we're having an open session. Good.
That's fine. Okay. How would you manage a key senior stakeholder that is clearly resistant to the delivery of a project?
Wonderful. That's a very good question. As a key senior stakeholder, I believe that the input is paramount to the success of a project. They come with varied years of experience, and at times the input can be very, very important. I would set up a meeting with a key senior stakeholder, understand their worries, understand why they might be against the change, um, and then explain the reason why the reason why I've been brought aboard to make those changes. But first of all, I will give them the opportunity to explain to me what their worries and needs are, understand why they might be against the change, write those things down. If I need to speak to a senior member of staff, like my line manager, explain those worries to them, I will do so. If it's something I can explain to them, I will do so too. But first of all, I think in order to have a successful project, we need to try as much as possible to meet our senior stakeholders' needs. So I need to understand why their worries are. Then, like I said, explain to them what I'm trying to achieve. Do a benefit mapping session with them. Let them see what we're trying to achieve. If they're still a bit, unsure, I can call them into a meeting with my line manager, and then we can have another session. But I believe from the one-to-one session I'll have with them, I'll be able to convince them, do the benefit mapping, and show them what direction we're moving in. If we have a roadmap, I'll show them the roadmap and explain to them that the changes will be done iteratively. It's not going to be done full force. They might be worried about staff and resources within the team. They could be worried about not having the resources to meet the changes we're about to bring about. So whatever it is, I'll try to resolve that in that meeting, or arrange a workshop. It could be more than one meeting. I'll be patient, but make sure they explain to them that the project has a timeline and costs attached to it. But obviously, like I said, I'll be patient and explain to them what we're trying to achieve, and hopefully I'll be able to convince them. Your follow-on question might be, if you're not able to convince them, what might be your next steps? My next step will be to escalate it to my line manager, like I said before, and explain to them that we've got a senior stakeholder slightly worried about the change project we're about to bring about. What does he think or she thinks we should do? My line manager and I will come together and think about and the best way forward, it might be to do a discovery. Again, I'm very experienced at running a discovery, gathering user requirements. So that's something I'm open to do, to make sure we are going by the right path and making sure, again, that senior stakeholders buy-in. Thank you.
Thanks, Ade. Next question for you here. Why do you think you are the best fit for this position? Why do you think?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's a very good question. I haven't read the job description and person specification. I'm drawn to this position because of the opportunity of growth and enhancement it provides. I'm eager to learn new skills and take on new challenges. I've been a senior project manager for the past 5 years now. I believe it's time that I move on to become a program manager, and this position is one of a program manager role, and it entails it ties in well with my key skills and qualities, and I believe that I will fit in perfectly in this position. I see this role as a perfect fit for me, as it aligns with my goals, aspirations as well. I'm excited to come into the team and manage your programs. I've spent the past 8 years or so managing projects. Now I believe it's time for me to step up and move on to that program management and role. And like I said, your job description and person specification just ties in nicely with my goals and aspirations. So I believe I'm the best person to come in there into this position. Um, that with the fact that I've managed large scales of projects, multiple projects, in fact, within the public sector and the private sector, and I come accompanied with various skills, managing colleagues, managing project support officers and other project managers underneath me. I believe I'm ready to fall into this position that you've advertised, and I think I will bring in the massive skills I've attained over the years into your organization. I would say
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Ade, how do you motivate your colleagues or staff team?
Wonderful. I think in order to achieve any form of high quality result, one is to have the ability to motivate the staff team. I work with diverse and very talented, skilled individuals. Some of them require minimum guidance, but some do require some guidance. I can see that Adiza's got a
Daisy.
question. Please fire away.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Yeah.
Hiya.
I didn't get the question. Sorry, please. If you can ask that question again.
Please ask the question
Yeah,
again.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
How do you motivate your colleagues or staff team?
Wonderful. Very good question. Like I said, I work with a diverse, multidisciplinary team, developers, business analysts, testers, data analysts. They all come with their own unique set of skills. Um, we all work collectively to achieve a purpose and a goal, which is to develop a product that will be used by our end users or stakeholders. So in order to motivate them, we have daily stand-ups, we have retrospective. I use this opportunity and during this meeting to ensure that a voice have been heard. I will give you an example of how I made their voices being heard after I give you a bit of more information. So I tend to try and build trust. I try to develop strengths. I try as much as possible to encourage communication from every individual. I encourage teamwork. I provide valuable feedback. I constantly lead by example. I'm a motivated, confident individual, and I lead by example. And I try as much as possible to ensure my team or colleagues are also inspired, highly motivated, and confident in what they do. So I try to lead by example. Also try as much as possible. This is very important. I think by setting clear um, clear goals and expectations from the onset, you can have a motivated team. Teams sometimes get a bit confused and deluded if there isn't any clear goals and or plan or expectation for them to adhere to. So they're just walking in solos and stuff like that. But by having a clear goals and expectations, I think you can have a solid and motivated team. So that's something I'm trying to do. I'm also trying to create a positive and vibrant environment by just being bubbly during, for instance, during Corona, um, I set up a huddle every 30 minutes for us to catch up. Obviously, because we couldn't meet up in person, and those huddles were people found us very valuable because we got a chance to talk, find out what we're doing, what's happening now, our particular region. My team are very, they're located in different regions, some in Manchester, Liverpool, London. So that whole was very valuable for us to catch up and talk and just talk about, social life and how things are going. I said I was going to come back to the second phase of how I motivate colleagues. One of the other things I do as well is I try as much as possible to make sure each individual in the project team gets a time to chair our meetings. So, like I said, in stand up, for instance, in the past, I'll be doing most of the talking like I'm doing now. But what I realize is some of the colleagues within the team were a bit shy and timid, and were not like they don't like to talk as much as others. So what I did was do the rota. For instance, I'll say on Monday, I'll do the chairing of the meeting. On Tuesday, my other colleague would chair. On Wednesday, another person. That way, everyone had a chance to talk. And I noticed how things over a few weeks, over a few months, things started changing. People becoming more vocal, becoming more as a team rather than me just doing most of the talking. Um, when we talk about diverse team, I've got teams from China, I've got colleagues from China, some from Pakistan, some from India. So we're all very diverse, and some of them were a bit shy in talking. And most of the conversations were done by myself and some of the Caucasian colleagues on the call on the team. Sorry, but I noticed that. But with time, I encourage everyone to get involved within those meetings, in our workshops, in our retrospective meetings. I make sure everyone got a chance to talk. That way the team became more evolved and everyone, became more confident and motivated. Thank you. Any question? So with that one, I did go straight into answering it, but then give a bit of an example. There are some questions where you will have to give examples, but right now I'm just taking it easy. I think we'll have another session where it'll be more of a star-based approach, how I answer those questions. But for this first session, I'll keep it quite simple, because right now what I'm trying to make you understand is interview shouldn't be a scary process. It's just question, answer at times. Carry on, Catherine. Thank you. Next question.
Lovely. The next question is so this question is in two parts. So I'll go with the first, which is how would you work with a diverse team? So that's one. Describe how you would work inclusively with people from a diverse group. I think you already touched up a bit on that. So
yeah, I did. I think we have to remember that when we work in, especially in a project team, or in organizations as large as NHS, you will have you'll be working with people from a diverse community. You will have Muslims, you have Christians, Hindu, you'll have black, white, Asian, you'll have male, female. I think the main thing there is for you to respect each other. So respect is the key word. We have to respect each other's culture, trust each other. Remember that we're working as a team, encourage each other. When I have a successful project, I never take it on board as, I deliver this project. No, I work with, and this is something I keep saying, with highly intelligent individuals, and I respect their intelligence, and I learn from them. Our developers are smart, very smart individuals. So when we have a successful project, it's not down to the project manager, it's down to everyone. I think by having a mindset and encouraging them, congratulating them for work well done, We have some female developers, amazing from China, very intelligent. Again, like I said before, they were quite shy. The English was not as strong. English was not that very. Their English was not that very strong. I recognize and understand that, but they couldn't do the job. They couldn't do the work. So my job was to encourage them to talk. Um, from just them saying one or two words during our meetings, now they can chair a whole meeting. Again, it's just for me recognizing that how intelligent they are and just knowing that English was not a strong point, but still giving them an opportunity to talk and giving them the space and time for them to, get into the groove. Now they just sometimes even beg me to chair a meeting, So it's recognizing each other's strengths, weaknesses, excuse me, respecting each other's cultures and differences, and appreciating it. Um, like I said, I work with a diverse bunch of people and I respect their culture and I learn from them, learn about the culture, trying to understand, um, and just being just having that emotional empathy, trying to understand what they're going through. For instance, during the Syria, which is still going on, I had a colleague from Syria that had to fly out to Syria to bring the family over to UK. Again, it's just having that sympathy and emotion and allowing that person to do what they have to do and giving them time to get born with a family and settle down before coming back to work. I had to tell them to take the time. It's just that little understanding. um yeah, I think I answered that question.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you for that, Ade. And the next question would be, can you tell us about a time you had a failed project?
Hmm. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. That's a very good question. I think I've told most colleagues on this call about that failed project. This is something I do not mind sharing. In fact, I love sharing it. As a successful project manager, you will have some projects along the way, but it's important to learn from it. You do a lessons learned report at the end of your project, and you try as much as possible not to repeat the same mistake. So, a failed project. This is how this came about, this failed project. So I was tasked with delivering um, a silhouette foot wound camera installed to a laptop in a diabetic foot foot wound clinic, um, and also to deliver it within clinics near to the community where some of our end users are based. So this project was with NHS Nottingham University Hospital Trust. The problem statement was, when I received it, the problem statement was, we're spending, NHS are spending too much money um, on Catherine. Remind me what was it Catherine or Bumi? Is it Bumi? Bumi, remind me what the word was. It's not decapitating.
Amputation.
Amputation. Thank you very much. I don't know why I keep using that word, amputation. Yes. So NHS is spending too much money on amputation. So basically, some of the diabetics patients will develop foot wound, but because the clinics were far away from, because the hospital was far away from where they live, most of them will leave that foot wound till it's too late. And then when they go into the hospital, um, they have to amputate that foot. So that's costing NHS a lot of money. So they're trying to find a way to deliver projects that will be near those individuals' houses. So there are communities that have been targeted. I think there were about 7 or 8 within Nottingham that we're supposed to deliver this silhouette camera and laptop to, so that the clinicians were able to attend to those patients. But during the scoping, we capture those, but we focus mainly on delivering that particular silhouette camera and laptop into the clinic itself, which is NHS Hospital Trust in Nottingham. But rather than focusing on delivering it within this community, which was the main goal itself, because we're trying to reduce that rate of amputation. But I worked so closely with the clinician at the hospital trust, that I ended up delivering the silhouette camera and the laptop within the hospital trust, because he was the one I was talking to regularly. The main focus was to deliver it there. I then forgot about those small communities that I was supposed to deliver the project with. I was so happy that yes, I've achieved the project. But as time went by, when we did a midway check, we realized that actually the main goal of this project was to deliver in the community and also in the clinic. So we achieved half of the project. The clinician obviously was happy. When the patients come in, he's able to take a picture, a 3D picture, image picture of their foot wound, and then store it into the computer, and the computer will cleverly go in depth and draw a graph of how the foot wound is, how deep the wound is. And when they come back again in 2 weeks' time, the 2 weeks appointment, the camera will take a picture of the foot wound again, and the computer will again do a graph of how deep the wound is. So it tells the clinician if the wound is actually improving or depreciating. So the clinician is happy. He got his camera, he got his laptop in his clinic, but the end users who are always trying to focus on, they missed out on having that camera and laptop installed in their community. So some people call it scope creep, but I call it a failed project. Even though I achieved one part of it, I still call it a failed project, because my main goal is obviously to deliver the camera and the laptop within the community. So I didn't achieve that, and we ran out of time. So I had to move on to another project. But like I said, I did a lessons learned afterwards. I learned from my mistake. End users come first. Sometimes we can get overwhelmed focusing on administrators, in this case, the clinician, rather than end users. I didn't get opportunity to even hear their voices. I didn't get opportunity to speak to any of them. So I missed that out. So I think that was a fair project. I've learned from that now. From now on, obviously my end users come first before anything else. Thank you. Any question?
No.
Quickly,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
No worries at all. Go ahead.
You mentioned something. You said some people call this scope script, and you said it's a failed project. Can we really say this is a scope script? Can you talk more about about that?
All right. In sometimes, and in fact, I notice this a lot. This happens a lot in projects where you will have a scoping session, a workshop, where you will be on certain things that needs to happen within this project. You get that signed off, everyone is happy, you go away. Then 2 months, 3 months during the line, whilst you work on the project, you'll find somebody else come from somewhere and say, oh, I realized that you started off this project. You did not involve me. You didn't capture my requirements. We noticed you're trying to deliver this project, but what about our requirements? We want this and this to also happen. Oh, I've gone through the requirements. I've gone through your scope. You've missed me out. Where do I come in? Your project might end up failing if you start including their scope into, or their requirements into what you've already agreed on, because everyone has already agreed on what you need to do. Your senior stakeholders, everyone is signed off, but then you've missed out on this particular people or sessions. So sometimes you will need to escalate this. It's important, because if you deliver that product, you've missed out entire all region or all session or all team of people that might not end up using that product because the requirements have not been captured. If you do include them, you may end up not having enough time to complete your project. So it's a complex one. This thing about scope is complex. So you might need to go back to the drawing board. You either stop the project, like I said, escalate it. If you've got a project board, You let your project board know what's happening. They can decide that, okay, we need to include this project, and then give that project some more timeline to deliver it. But if you go ahead by yourself and decide to add that requirement into what you've already agreed on, you'll find that you'll run out of time and you won't deliver that project. Why I mentioned that being a project, a project creep was because we've already agreed on this scope creep here. We've already agreed on this scope that we're going to deliver this project in the community as well as within the clinic. But I was so focused on working with a clinician, it was a very smart clinician, by the way, so focused on working with him that I lost scope of delivering within those other communities as well. There wasn't anyone particularly I can speak with regards to delivering within those community apart from that particular clinician. But he was so focused also on getting this thing into his clinic and getting it done that we just end up forgetting about that the community until it was too late. Then we realized that, oh dear, this we've missed out the entire purpose of the project, which is bad. This was my early days as being a project manager. So it's about seven years ago. So yeah, so that's how that ended up happening. But yes, you have to be very careful when it comes to agreeing on scope, and you do not get threatened by anyone, even if it's a senior person, for you to start adding more scope into something you've already agreed on. You need to stop, speak to your project board, and get it agreed on. Get some more time into it. I can send that hand up. And that Ade?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, you mentioning the scope creep, and it reminds me of a project that I worked on when I was working in an organization. And just like you explained, we started with a small project just to, enhance a system. And before we knew it, we missed out on some stakeholders. And you didn't include me. We went back to the board, and they started adding more and more and more until the project became so complex. It wasn't even a project anymore. It was a program. And at that point, I couldn't handle it anymore. It threw me off balance. In such situation for upcoming BAs that don't have much experience, what would be your advice, and how can we navigate those situations and still be able to cope with the volume of tasks given to us as BAs?
Wonderful, wonderful question. Thank you for that question, Ade. So what I would do is I would draw out a roadmap. People don't realize how important this is. Draw out a roadmap. In that roadmap, let's say I start off with 3. Let's say we're delivering a project to the whole of England. So let's say we've got Northwest, we've got West Midlands, Wessex, Yorkshire and Humber, London, Kesses, Kingston, da 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 da. So let's say we've got like 7 regions I've identified. The first region I'll put on the roadmap, I might say, okay, deliver to Northwest 6 months. So it will take me 6 months to deliver to Northwest. Deliver to West England will take me another 6 months. So I'm mapping my estimated time onto this roadmap, which I will share with the project board, so they will see that it might take us up to 3 to 4 years to deliver this project, if this is what they want, and then they can sign it off. So now there's no rush on your side. You've got 4 years to deliver the project to the whole of England. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll do. Second thing, I will agree on the scope, the resources. Are there resources available in Northwest, the first region we're delivering to? Yes, okay. I'll agree on that. We'll sign that off. Is there going to be resources available in the next region? Yes, okay. Can we do it in parallel? The first region and the second region? Yes, no. I'll ask the stakeholders, key stakeholder developers. I'll map all those things down. So I'll make sure that I've done my due diligence here. So what I'll be left with is either 3 years, if we can do some in parallel, or 2.5 years. So I'll present this to the board and say, yes, this project will take us 2.5 years. Do you want us to carry on or do you want us to simplify this a little bit, or do you want 2 project managers on this project? I work on Northwest, East, West, and then I work on London, the big region, London, da 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 da. If they say yes, we agree on that. So we'll do all this agreement during our project board, and then I'll take that away and start working. I will not put any pressure on myself at all, as I've learned. So, but you use a bit of common sense to try and get things in a roadmap form, and then share those with your board members. That's how I will tackle it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And there are so many projects like that, yeah, that will put into a roadmap. So, Catherine, yeah.
Yep. Final question, this says. Okay. So not all stakeholders are confident in their digital skills and may struggle with the new system you are about to roll out. How would you manage their expectations?
Okay, so I think this is similar to the other questions about getting the buy-in. Can you just repeat that question again for those that missed it out?
Yeah,
Catherine,
sure.
please.
Okay, so not all your stakeholders are confident in their digital skills and may struggle with the new system you are about to roll out. How would you manage their expectations?
Wonderful. So again, this question is alluding to a bit of a change in processes. It's also alluding to the fact that some people might find what you're trying to bring in to be to be disturbing the already established process. What I would do is I will hold a workshop, invite those. In fact, I will send an open invite anyone that wants to come into the workshop. And what I would do is explain to them what I'm about to deliver, why I'm delivering it, and then the benefits of delivering it. Then I'll also talk about training. Then I'll also talk about demoing the system to them so that they'll be confident in using it. Most people shy away from systems because of the fact that they believe it's complex, it's complicated. They're used to using paper or forms, flowable forms, Excel, but systems are much faster in most cases. And we've been mandated to move away from paper. I think it's NHS 2020 talked about us moving away from paper. So I'll explain all that to them during this workshop. I'll also explain the fact that if they need to talk to me one-to-one, I'm available. But I think what most people need to understand is that that training will be available. So we're going to offer some training. We can do train the trainer as well sessions. There'll be demo session. We'll take them through the whole system from the beginning to the end. Show them how the administrators, most of them will be our administrators. So we'll show them how the administrators will use the system. We'll also show them how the delegates, or when I say delegates, I'm talking about end users, how the end users will also use the system, so they'll understand that there'll be FAQs, there'll be comms all throughout the whole process. Also, I'll talk about, developing some guides, some user guides, so that that's there for them to use. I'll also talk to them about, how agnostic the system will be and simple to use. We'll make sure it's not too technical. And at any time, if they need to ask any question, they can always come to me as the project or the product owner within the organization. So that's how we'll tackle that. But most importantly, I'll do a change management workshop with them as well, so they can see and understand what the changes will entail, and also the benefits as well, draw a benefits map as well to them. And then I'll do the season to be process map, so they'll see what it is currently, and then what it will look like once we've developed and delivered the project, and hopefully we're able to see the benefits. And I think that, yeah, that's how I'll tackle that. That's how I'll tackle that particular one.
Thank you. I think that's the end of our interview.
Thank you very much. Now, once the interview is over, I normally ask 3 to 4 questions, and I think we should all learn the habit as well to do that. Do not forget that the interview is a two-way process. They're interviewing you. You also trying to find as much as possible about that company. If it's a company you will fit in well with, if it's a company that you will fit into the environment, um, or fit into the team well with. So the first question I might ask might be something simple. I might ask if the 2 or 3 interviewers, I'm as the first interview, I just said, can you please tell me about what you find positive about working for this organization? So something simple. They might say, oh, I enjoy the pay package, or I enjoy the benefits, or I enjoy the team. It could be anything like that. That's just the first, just to get them into more questions coming in. And the second one will be, my second question could be, can you tell me the list the least thing you enjoy about the organization? It might be the fact that maybe it's not a remote working or something simple. Whatever it is, they'll tell me that as well. My third question, once I've warmed them up, my third question could be, and this is a serious one. This is what I encourage people to have the confidence to ask. My third question might be something along the lines of, based on the answers I've provided to the questions you've asked, are there any question or any particular I'll say, are there any particular question you feel that I need to elaborate further on? Now they might look at each other in shock or surprise, because they might not be expecting such questions from you. I'll repeat that question again. I might say something along the lines of, based on the answers I've provided to the questions you've asked, are there any particular question you wish I can elaborate further on? They might say, actually, yeah, question 2. You talked about motivating your staff team, blah, 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 blah. Can you please tell us a bit more about how you might go about that? Now, that will give you opportunity to add some more flesh to your already provided answer. So I can go back and add some more flesh to it. The fact I've answered 8 questions already will give me more time to think a bit more, learn a bit more about organization based on the question you've asked me, and then provide that further answer to that question. And by that time, you should be a bit more relaxed and open-minded, so you can provide more information. And then my fourth question could be something along the line of, when will I, usual stuff, when will I find out if I've been successful? Listen, thanks, listen. When will I find out if I've been successful for this role? Notice I said, when will I find out if I've been successful for the role? And then they'll say, oh, we'll call you on Thursday after interview 3 more people to let you know. I say, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's been great. I enjoyed the interview. Thanks a lot. That's it. And that's how I deal with it. Simple. Know that this is just a simple question and answer. Like I said, we can have, thanks to Lupe, we can have another session where it will be more star-based. That'll be a different style of answering the question. And I'll be in UK then, so I'll be able to do a PowerPoint slide. Like I said, I'm in Nigeria right now, so yeah, I'll just kick you guys off with a basic question and answer, so that when I go back to UK, I can develop some more PowerPoints and do a bit more intense questions that I might ask you. Thank you. Now the floor is open for any questions. Right, Stephen, please go ahead.
Well, okay, sorry.
All right. Thank you so much for this session. Can you hear me?
No worries at all. I can. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. This is very, very educative. So quickly, I just want to ask a question. Based on, I work in the oil and gas industry. I just wanted to ask a question. I don't know if it's okay to ask. It's an interview question about asset management. And if I get a question like, how do you value an asset? How would you answer such a question? I don't know if it's something you can answer now, or if maybe you want to get back to. But I just want to hear your own perspective. How would you answer such a question? How do you value an asset?
How do you value
an asset? Like you're getting interviewed for a role of an asset manager, and you're being asked, how do you value an asset? So asset can be one company, an IOC, an NOC, an international oil company or national oil company.
Okay.
So, what
Think.
asset
Okay.
is about.
Let's see if Bumi can answer your question. Bumi's got hands up. Booms.
Hi, yes. So I had my hands up for to just make a comment. But if I
Okay.
heard the question well, did you say how do you value an asset? Is that what
Yeah.
the question was?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, asset management. Well, I'm not into asset management, but if for how do you value something? But what I would think is before you value something, you need to have done your research about the thing. Well, this might be just like a generic question, but if I'm looking from it from a business analyst point of view, I do some market research. I'll do some research about that asset and maybe do some comparative studies to be sure that, or even find out maybe the other assets that are comparable to it, so that you get the values of those, and then you then do like a comparability test, and then before you arrive at a particular value for the asset. But I'm not an asset manager, but if I'm going to attempt things like that, I'll first of all do like a research about assets or comparable assets, and then I will do some comparative studies. And I might also ask some people who are the subject matter experts, or do a Gartner studies. You know that there's something called Gartner research. So that way, you'll be able to arrive at a value for the asset. But that's just me. But I'm not an asset manager. I don't think anybody will ask me such a question.
Thanks, Bumi. I think you provided a good answer. Stephen, that's something I can come back to you on, maybe not before our next session. I'll do a bit of
Yeah,
research for you. Yeah.
yeah, I will do a bit of research. Yes. So if I may come in, is that okay if I may come
Yeah.
in with mine?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say was that it was good that when you answered that question about a failed project, I like the fact that you said that was earlier on in my career.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was like 7 years ago. So I think
Yeah.
it's good to say that because at this stage, nobody wants to employ a project manager with a failed project. And
Mm.
at the same time, I've been in an interview before and they asked me, tell me about a time when you've made a mistake and how you
Yeah.
dealt with it.
Yeah.
And how you dealt with it. And I quickly thought about a time. I mean, not as if I've really made a mistake that's terrible. But you would think in your career how you made a mistake. All they want to know is, yes, you made a mistake. You honed up to it. In fact, nobody knew about it. I corrected it, and then I went out I told my manager to say, this happened. It wasn't a fault of me. Maybe it was a system that failed. But yes, I could have double checked, but I didn't double check. That was where I made a mistake. But quickly before it ran out of hand, I quickly checked it, corrected it. And then it was actually very good that I noticed, because that helped my team to understand that one of our systems was failing. And then I
Mm.
quickly sent a message out to the team in Slack to say we're having issues with this system, and that was how we got the DevOps, or we got the developers on top of that, and it was corrected. So yes, things like that is good. And when I said that, the interviewer said, "I'm glad you said that you owned up that you've made a mistake before." And the interviewer told me, he said, you don't know the amount, I mean, they have a huge number of people who comes to the interview and tell them they haven't made a mistake. They haven't made a mistake before. And it is not true. So I think it's good to say, well, I've had failed projects. Well, it's very early on in my career, and I have learned from it. It's very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's a very good insight. Appreciate that. Any other questions? Please don't be shy, no matter what your background is. At least you got a business analyst there on this call. We've got a Scrum Master. We've got a service delivery manager. Any question at all?
So I have a question, please.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, in terms of applying on NHS England for or project management role, what are the key things you think I should put in my job application?
I think read the job specification, read the job description. Most of the keywords out there that will pop up, they'll pop out. There isn't anything too specific. I think the fact that you've got some experience, like I said in the past, in one of my first sessions, like I said, your training is your first job. The first training is your first job. If you've done 3 trainings, you've done 3 consultant job roles. So list your experience down. Talk about your communication skills, your ability to manage projects if you're a project manager. Talk about agile, your experience with agile. We are now moving to agile, full agile, moving away from waterfall. Waterfall is now a thing of the past within NHS England. We have a full project team. We've been forced to build our products in-house rather than procure them now. So we've got developers, business analysts, user researchers. So you can talk about working with all these multi-professional teams. What else? I can prepare something for you, Remy. I'll prepare something for you. Can think of them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But most of the keywords will pop out from the job specification. But I'll prepare something for you. Any other questions?
Hi, Ade. Good evening. My name is Femi. Thank you so much for the input this evening. That was very, very insightful. My question is really on a personal note. So let's say you've been in a company for a long time, contracting, and the employer asks you, why have you been in your previous role for long? Why are you looking now? What kind of examples can you give without sounding really, really archaic? Or, if they want to find out about, oh, how are you going to cope if you've been in an organization for a long time, moving on to another role? Yeah, that's my first question. And my second question is, so if your previous role was like a business analyst and you want to move into maybe a product owner, project manager role, how do you position this?
That's easy. I think most of us are hybrid. My first CV was one of a BA and project manager. My current CV is one of a project manager and product manager. I'm also a product owner. Things are changing. I think we are now becoming more hybrid than we ever used to be. You are more required. If you look at some project manager roles, there are talks about process mapping, a bit of user research, discovery. Discovery is now a thing that they require you to understand and be doing as a project manager. Business case, project manager is not signed to write business cases. In the past, it was a business analyst role. If you've been contracting for years, I think that's a good thing that a company's been keeping you on for that long. That means you're very good. And then you want to become full-time. Just say, look, you want to be a more security in terms of your job role or job position. You're moving away from contracting to a permanent position because you want more security. You notice that some of your colleagues are being made redundant, and this is the fact. This is fact. I know some of my colleagues have been made redundant recently, and they're now looking for a permanent position. This is true. Then the second question, I think I've answered your
Yeah,
first question.
I
Yeah.
think yeah, he answered the first question. Yeah,
Okay.
second class. No, it will be from contract to contract again, so
Yeah.
rather than permanent. But I think I can.
Was
Yeah,
it contract? Was it another contract you're really going for?
yeah, another contract.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. I mean, if one organization, contract organization, have kept you for that long, that means you're very good at what you're doing. I don't think that should be an issue. They shouldn't be asking you too much question about that. You are obviously developing as everyone else should be. You're developing. You're looking for more opportunity to advance your knowledge. You're eager to learn new skills and move on to bigger things. I went from social worker to become a project manager, and I did say that earlier on in my first 2 interviews, but I've moved on away from talking about my past as a social worker now, because that's like 10 years ago. But yes, you can change career path. Um, I think we're all doing that. In fact, there's some nurses that's moved on to becoming BAs. Yeah, you're allowed to. No one can hold you down and say, well, why are you doing this and why are you doing that? But if you wanted to give an example, just say, look, you've done this job for so many years. You've been a BA for so many years. It's time you move on to a project manager. When you trained so many years ago, you trained as a BA and a project manager. You are an hybrid. You're an hybrid. You've got a hybrid skills. You're multi-skilled. You're skilled in both BAs and PMs. In fact, you can say in your current role as a BA, you do manage some small projects, so you've managed some projects as well as carry out some business analyst roles and some user researcher roles. I think a user researcher and a BA is a thin line between both roles. So again, you can even kick that in just to show them that you are multitasked. But yeah, that's how I answer that. I would just say I'm you're a hybrid. You're trained as a BA and a PM, and you've had both experience, and you are starting to you notice that you're starting to like being a PM more than a BA because it's more challenging. There are more I don't know, more opportunity for you to advance your skills within a particular role. And it's true. In fact, some of our
Thank you for
BAs
that
within our
perspective.
organizations have been made a bit dormant. They're not used as much as they used to in the past because user researchers and PM have taken over most of their roles. And those are
Thank you.
facts. You're welcome.
Hi, sorry, I have a question as well.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I studied computer science, my bachelor, and I came to the UK last year, for my master's, which I enrolled in a course of project management. So I just graduated, and I'm actually seeking for a job. But I was thinking, is it good for me to do some courses like Scrum Master or Agile or something before I start looking for a job, or what do you think I can do?
You need to do a training.
Yeah, training.
You need to do a training. You need to do a training. That training will prepare you for the real life work position. Excuse me. You will get opportunity to work with business analysts, work with testers, work with project support officers, work with developers. That way, when you do get a job, none of these things become new to you. If you go in as you've done the theory aspect of it, you're a PM. When you start working with developers, business analysts, you will know what your role is meant to be and what theirs are. And sometimes they might push some of the work towards your side, but because you're not, you haven't worked within that team before, you haven't experienced that, you're able to say, no, that's your job. No, this is my job. And you need to be able to lead those people as well, to manage them. So with that training, you'll be given the opportunity to manage a team. so that when you do get that job, you'll be able to manage that team efficiently and effortlessly, in fact. So my suggestions for you is to find a good training. Speak to Tolu if he can help you out. Get training, even if it's 3 months. In my first session, I talk about my training. Within the first 3 months, I got a job because I was managing a team. So when I went for the interview, I talked about managing the team. And when I got a job, I was managing the team. Same thing, similar thing. So your training is not training, it's your first job, essentially, how you look at it. Hope that makes sense. Because another thing you can end up doing is doing all these qualifications. You can have PMG, CPG, TPT, APC, have all these qualifications and then still can't get a job. But without training, that will prepare you for that job. Once you get a job, do as much training as you want. Like I said again on this session, in my organization, they're begging us to do trainings. They paid for 2,500, 5,000, whatever. They're paying for our training. So don't spend too much time on doing all these courses. Spend time on your training. Get in there. Do as much courses as you want. My CV is now about five pages long, full of trainings, because I love going on courses. But I've got a job, so I afford to go on those free courses. Does that make sense?
Yes, sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So please, who is Tolu that you're talking about that could talk about the training?
I'll let Tolu speak.
Tolu
invited me to the session.
That's me. So this platform you are on now, thank you. Let me first of all thank you, Ade, for always coming on, and your co-workers as well. So this is Rockitech. We're a collaborative platform where we collaborate, and then we have a product team that are working on a live product. They're building the Rockitech website. Just like I have been saying, you need to talk on what you've done. So we encourage people to go for various training and then come to join Rockitech to practicalize or practice what they have done. And that's what we do on Rockitech. We have a cohort in session now. I think they've run for 1 month. And I'm sure some of them are here. They can testify to it that it's not just going for the training, but getting your hands dirty that really gets you there. Because you find out that even while you've been on the training, you think that you know what it is. But when you now get to do the real elicitation, the real collaboration, the real build-up, you find out that yes, it's another different ball game. So that's what we have on Rockitech, and we will do 3 months of hands-on. So the next one will coming up by October, and then we do this section, this kind of section every Wednesday. We try to do them depending on who is available. So next week we don't have somebody yet, but we are looking for anyone that wants to also encourage, that want to enlighten the IT space. So that's what we are all here for.